Our political reporter, Sharman Sacchetti, is live in Boston. And Sharman, 2 members of the Massachusetts delegation were part of the committee that released those emails.
That's right, and one of them is Congressman Stephen Lynch, and he says these emails raise real questions about what President Trump knew. The White House, on the other hand, they're just blaming Democrats and calling this a smear campaign. Bombshell emails raising new questions about President Trump and convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein.
There's some serious questions to be asked.
Democrats on the House Oversight Committee released the emails. In 2011, lawmakers say Epstein wrote to his now convicted co-conspirator Ghislaine Maxwell about Trump, saying, "I want you to realize that that dog that hasn't barked is Trump. Victims spent hours at my house with him. He has never once been mentioned." She responds, "I have been thinking about that." An unredacted copy of that email provided by Republicans to ABC shows Epstein referred to Virginia Giuffre, an Epstein accuser who died by suicide. In 2011, she said President Trump did not take part in sex, but did flirt, then later said he never flirted. Democrats also pointing to an email from Epstein to author Michael Wolff about President Trump's claim he kicked Epstein out of Mar-a-Lago. It says, quote, "Trump said he asked me to resign, never a member, ever. Of course he knew about the girls, as he asked Ghislaine to stop."
Apparently he knew about some of the conduct from the language of the text.
President Trump has denied knowing anything about Epstein's crimes, the White House blaming Democrats.
It's not a coincidence that the Democrats leaked these emails to the fake news this morning ahead of Republicans reopening the government.
Democrats believe more will come out.
The victims want answers to this.
Now, sources are telling ABC News that the White House is trying to stop House Democrats from releasing the full Epstein files right now, and in fact meeting with Republican Lauren Boebert to try to get on her to change her mind. The White House is saying meeting with lawmakers is just a sign of transparency. We're live in Boston. Sharman Sacchetti, WCVB News Center 5.